Bailey Zappe, in terms of experience and all that, is probably your second best quarterback just early on in the season. But then do you say, no, it's okay, like even if Maye struggles, we want him in? Do you say, no, we want to make sure that he's not going in too early and we keep Zappe? I want to know what you guys think, because I didn't think it was so crazy to think that Zappe could maybe start the season on the roster. But I also see the other side of it of Drake Maye. You do want him to play and get the snaps. So I'm going to be very curious to see how this works out.
Yeah, I think those are two separate conversations. I think on one hand, there is an argument to be made for keeping Zappe. I wouldn't do it. Just some of the stuff we heard last year about how he was in the room. I do think Bailey Zappe's an NFL quarterback. I think he's a solid NFL backup. You can get another NFL backup that maybe doesn't have the history here that he has. So, but there is an argument for, yeah, like Bailey Zappe is going to be a part of this team. He's going to be on the roster, but how much you're really trying to develop Bailey Zappe versus, I want to see Drake Maye getting every rep he can realistically get, short of what's needed to be done to get ready for the season. And I'm not, like, realistically, even if Zappe is the backup, if he comes in, let's say Jacoby's out for the season, you're going to start turning towards, as soon as Maye's ready, he's going to be the guy. Zappe's just the placeholder. So, it's the distribution of reps. You can talk about that plan in the regular season. That makes sense. But even if that is the plan, I still want to see developing Drake Maye be the priority, not getting Bailey Zappe ready in case he has to come in as a backup.
For sure.
Brian.
For sure.
Testing my skills on Prize Picks this season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps. Use the code CLNS for the first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Yeah, I think 4 quarterbacks is too many. And you kind of, again, go back to that Breer story from Mayo. Seems like they kind of agree with that they want to dwindle that down. Like, there just seemed to be too many times today where I was sitting there watching Drake Maye, sitting there watching Bailey Zappe take snaps. Like, and it's more beneficial to, at this point of the year with a rookie quarterback, to get him in there and get as many snaps as possible, right? Like, once the season starts, those snaps dwindle so much. Then you're in game prep mode, right? Like we talked with Mac last year where we're like, oh, he just needs to get the footwork back and corrected. But during the season, there's just not enough snaps to do that. This is where the bulk of your practice snaps come from throughout the year. So I would like get Maye, get Milton, even as these developmental guys, get them as many snaps at this point now. And with 4 quarterbacks, it's a lot to go around. There seemed to be a lot of kind of sitting and waiting around today. And as you said, Barth, like maybe that is just one day. Mayo said this can change. Like one guy could have 30 and one guy could have 5 today. And then maybe tomorrow Maye has 30 and Zappe has 5. So you don't want to rip them too much. And they do seem like they know by training camp, they want to get this down to 3 quarterbacks. But from where they are now, it does seem like a lot sharing a practice field with 4 guys.
I will say credit to the kids, and this is Maye and Milton, in that I wouldn't characterize what they did as just standing around. I think when Zappe was out there
was a lot of Drake Maye going like mental reps, it seemed like.
Yeah, so Drake Maye, and I thought he was talking to Jacoby Brissett a lot. Mm-hmm. So I think there is value in Zappe running it. Well, they're both off to the side, and Maye can kind of pick Jacoby's brain on, he did this. How should I do this? How should I do that? And yeah, Joe Milton, I actually saw him a couple times. Like he's standing back, behind the plate, like hands up, like he's taking the snaps, going through the footwork. So they're staying mentally involved, which Bill Belichick always talked about, how important that is. So credit to them, not just standing there. The one other thing I wonder is, especially this time of year, you got 90 players. Why not go 2 fields, split squad?
We saw that towards the end of practice too. That's where you started to see a glimpse of what you'd expect the offense to look like, where Jacoby Brissett, Drake Maye, and all the top offensive coaches and top offensive players were on one side of the field. Then on the other side of the field, you saw like Ben McAdoo was kind of like the Alex Van Pelt to the other side of the offense. Right. You saw Zappe, Milton, a lot of the guys you kind of presume would be backup. Some starters like mixed in, but it was pretty obvious that there were different factions between the 2 groups. So I think that's a good point, is how maybe we could see it kind of go in a different way and they lean more into that so these guys can get more reps. And just to kind of wrap up my point about the quarterback thing, I guess my other kind of hesitation is Joe Milton, we've seen he's talented, like especially the downfield stuff we already know. But similar to Drake Maye, the underneath stuff is still a work in progress. Like there were some plays where you're like, oof, okay, it's still early, you understand, but like would you want him being, if Jacoby gets hurt? Like, would you want Joe Milton to be Drake Maye's backup? Should maybe Bailey Zappe be the quarterback 3 and Joe Milton is more purely a scout team guy, considering he is a developmental prospect, but also, honestly, somebody you might be able to get onto the practice squad because teams know that he's not someone who can kind of come in and start. So, again, maybe not even so much Drake Maye versus Bailey Zappe, but if you look at the whole context of it, Jacoby's not there, then, like you said, I think it's a good point that you could just get another backup. We saw it last year. They went through several different, QB 3s, but I do think if you're looking at the width of the depth chart, Joe Milton's not really someone I think you want seeing the field this season.
Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code CLNS and get $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.